Hey, so this is the first video I've ever recorded. I have no idea how it's going to turn out because I have zero charisma, absolutely none whatsoever. So you're probably going to get a lot of boredom. My monotonous voice will kind of get at you quite a lot. But yes, I'm recording this video because I'm going to talk about my voice. It's an absolute trans cliche to do a video on your voice, and I'm going to start my first ever video talking about my voice. So when I started transition, I always knew that voice was going to be very important to me. I kind of went into transition knowing that I wanted to affect things that I could control. You know, you have things which are uncontrollable, like for example for me it's my height. I'm very tall, and you know, skeleton, shoulders, narrow hips, etc. So those things I can't control, but there are other things I could control, presentation wise, which would kind of help me to blend in. I mean, my goal with transition was never to pass. I find my passing to be a loaded term. I just want to blend in better. I mean, I don't mind people knowing I'm trans. I mean, as I say, I'm very tall, so I kind of think it must be quite obvious anyway that I am. So this video is forcing me out of my comfort zone. So yeah, what you're listening to now is the voice that I've been left with as a result of going to Yeson in South Korea. Some of you may know about Yeson, some of you may not. Basically, it's voice feminization surgery. You know, I figure by putting this video out there, it's kind of my first step in being less embarrassed with myself. Like, I absolutely hate speaking in public. At times I'm practically mute, and it's debilitating, it's silly, and it's not the reason I transitioned. So I need to work through that. I need to, you know, be able to go out into the world and not be embarrassed of my voice. So yeah, that's why I'm doing it. And if you're watching this, you're kind of my therapist. I also recognise that I'm in a privileged position, being able to afford these surgeries. I know many other trans people aren't, so you know, me moaning about my results from Yeson is like, you know, shut the hell up, Charlotte. What the hell are you talking about? But yeah, I do have that privilege financially to be able to afford that surgery. So you know, I wanted to make sure I'd done everything I could for my voice, and I felt Yeson was an important step in doing that, and that's why I decided to do it. Because ultimately I need to be content within myself, and know that I've done everything from my transition that I can. So I think it was October last year where I first contacted Yeson, and I got the surgery booked in for early January of this year, just 2016. Don't say 2016, there's more syllables. Why do people say 2016? No? I can understand 2009, but once we got to 2010, we should be saying 2010, not 2010 or 2011. It's more syllables. Anyway, that aside, so yeah, if you don't know much about Yeson, to try and put it in really, really simple terms, it's a surgery which shortens your vocal cords. So imagine your vocal cords are like this, like that. They basically put a suture in like here, that makes it like that. So that is like that. So it's a smaller vocal cord, so the airflow through is in a smaller space, therefore increasing your pitch. That's kind of the basic principle. I mean, if you want to actually know properly, you should go to the Yeson website, because they'll actually have proper information as opposed to a person doing this with their hands, which is which isn't very helpful at all, but does look like some kind of bird. So when a trans person goes to Yeson, they can expect a pitch increase of about 74 Hertz. To put that in perspective, my male speaking voice was down at 130 Hertz. So yeah, that's fairly lowish, I think. So yeah, it was low, and I was hoping to increase it to get it around 200 Hertz. You know, and I wanted to try and get rid of the heavy resonance in my chest. Actually, if you want to hear a recording of my voice, here it is. This was a male voice which I recorded for Yeson in October 2015, and you can hear it now.
When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is a division of white light into many beautiful colours. These take the shape...
Yeah, enough of that. No one wants to hear any more of that. So anyway, that was me reading the rainbow passage. So my pitch is probably higher, because weirdly, when I read, and even now when I read, I tend to put my pitch up compared to when I'm just in a conversation. My pitch will drop down, so that sometimes it's like a 10 Hertz difference, and that's always been the case. Right, so the big question: why didn't I get the results I wanted? So after surgery, you've got to be silent for 28 days. That means no talking, no coughing, sneezing, any sound coming from your throat is a big no-no. They do not want you making a sound at all for 28 days. On day 5, I got a really heavy cold. I mean, a really heavy cold. I think it must be like some kind of super Korean germs, which I've just not been exposed to before, but it got me good. And by good I mean bad, because it ruined everything. It really did. Most people, when they finish their 28 days silence, I mean, Yeson may tell you otherwise, but from my experience from talking to other patients and hearing their results at various stages of their recovery, most people get an initial bump in pitch increase and they start speaking immediately after 28 days, which is brilliant for them because it's worked. But for me, that didn't happen really at all. So I knew the cold had affected the healing then, and it's, it was demoralising to say the least. So as I say, I was pretty devastated with how my voice had turned out. So I kind of needed to reassure myself and just know what had happened kind of internally. I could hear myself, but I didn't know what was going on internally. So I booked in and got a laryngoscopy for a crazy amount of money in the UK, like a stupid amount of money, because it's like a 10-minute procedure really. So laryngoscopy is when they put a camera down your nose and they film your vocal cords. So I got a recording of that session of my vocal cords, which you can kind of see here. It's beautiful, isn't it? Look at that. It's lovely. So yeah, afterwards I sent off the results to Yeson, and they said the suture had held, but there was some granulation on the vocal cords. So they prescribed me some antibiotics, and then I had to be silent for another 20 days. So all in all, I was silent for 48 days, which at the time meant I had been silent for the most of 2016. So yeah, it was a horrible time, especially because I couldn't talk to Marie. I couldn't, just not being able to communicate properly is really hard and just quite draining after a while. Well, if you got this far into the video, you probably already judged my voice and where it's at. You know, I'm now a few months down the line after finishing that second silence, you know, after 20 days, and some strength to my voice has returned. I mean, if you want to hear what I sounded like after the second 20-day silence, click the link here and you can go to my facial team testimonial, which was filmed the day after I'd not spoken for 20 days. So yeah, I don't sound amazing. I probably actually sound exactly the same as I do now. I'm just kidding myself that I've got some strength back, who knows. But yeah, click here and you can watch that and learn about my facial team experience too. Ooh, exciting. So now I'm at this kind of place where I should be doing my vocal exercises, but I've just been kind of worried about putting too much stress on my voice. Like speaking, if I speak too high, am I going to put too much stress on my voice and damage it again? And also, you know, it's not a particularly good thing to admit, but my motivation to do vocal exercises has diminished, knowing that I'm not hearing the voice I want to hear. It kind of just feels a little bit pointless, but it's something I really, really, really need to do and get motivated, get myself into a routine. I think the effectiveness of the surgery has definitely been hindered by getting a cold during my recovery. However, I also believe that some of it is a psychological thing on my part that I need to get over. So yeah, I think it's like a twofold thing. I mean, what I mean by that is, you know, I've used my male voice, a deeper voice, for so long since puberty, you know, 20 odd years or whatever. My brain is searching for that male voice. You know, it's familiar to my brain, even though I don't want that at all. I feel like maybe my brain's subconsciously pushing my voice down to kind of get it into much more of the male range. I have a lot of issues trying to use this voice because it doesn't sound like a fully fledged voice. It kind of sounds a little bit fake. So trying to use this voice around people who have known me from before transition is a difficult thing, because you feel like just a little bit fake, and you know, they know what you sound like. I don't know, it's a weird thing. I shouldn't be like that at all, and I know I shouldn't, but I am. So yeah, with those people, I find myself speaking in a lower register, which is probably around 150 hertz. I don't know where I'm speaking in this video. I'm hoping it's in the 170 to 180 hertz range, preferably around 180 hertz. But yeah, when I'm speaking with friends and family, I'm being lazy, it's about 150 hertz. And that's kind of the lowest I can go without really, really, really pushing the voice down. So that's about a 20 hertz increase from where it was before. The pitch I'm speaking at now, this is a reasonably comfortable pitch to speak at. I mean, it probably doesn't sound it to other people, but it doesn't seem like I'm straining my voice when I'm talking here. You know, I think this voice can improve. I really hope it can improve. So I would like to get my voice to around 190 to 200 hertz and be able to speak there and get the resonance in, and just, you know, start to sound more feminine. Hopefully I'll be able to do that. I'm not sure if I will, but you know, you've got to try, I think. In conclusion, if you are considering Yeson, then I would say I don't regret my decision at all to do it. You know, all of the Yeson team, Dr. Kim, extremely professional, like amazing, things that they do there. You know, it's a whole voice centre, and they do lots of other things there as well. And the equipment is light years ahead of everything I've seen in the UK. So yeah, I don't regret my decision, and I can tell you that other people who went at the same time as me, they have had amazing results, you know. So I really was just pretty unfortunate in what happened during my recovery. I'd say if you're in a nice privileged position of being able to afford to do it and you want to do it, then go for it. So yeah, do it, but just do not get a cold, or you will really, really, really regret it. But as I say, I regret getting a cold, but I do not regret going to Yeson, because I tried to put myself in the best position to get a voice which I was going to be happy with. That hasn't happened, but it doesn't mean it won't happen for you. So yeah, I apologise for being kind of so downbeat in this video. It's been kind of cathartic just laying it all out there. If I do another video at some point, I promise to be more upbeat. But for now, yeah, this is my therapy over. I hope you enjoyed it. Who would have? No one. Sorry.